In Warthunder, good MBTs are few and far in between, and one of the best MBTs that is found in the Russian tech tree is the T-90A. Now, this tank sits at 11.0, and it mainly fights US Abrams, and honestly, the T-90A's armor is very, very good. And you do have a top tier round being the 3BM60, which fires has very good penetration value. You have really okay enough mobility. You have a terrible reverse gear, but you have an okay top speed, and you do have access to a stabilizer and a laser rangefinder, most things that a 11.0 or top tier MBTs get access to. Now, something that I found that stood out to me is the T-90A was really that armor that it has. It works very, very well. It works a lot better than what anything the Abrams or anything that the NATO tanks minus maybe the Leopards have access to. And it definitely allows you to sit there and brawl with enemy tanks, whereas in things like the Abrams and the Challengers and even the Merkavas have a very hard time actually being able to be competitive with you. And you're not even necessarily in top tier. You can technically get down tiers with this vehicle, which would be devastatingly effective. Another thing I noticed about the T-90A that I also really did enjoy was the fact that its crew compartment seemed actually pretty survivable minus if you got ammo racked. Obviously, it's a Russian tank. It has a autoloader, and that is a fairly easy autoloader, a fairly easy tank to ammo rack when being shot at from the side, when shot at properly, and it hits the carousel. Other than that, there's really not a whole lot that I don't really have anything bad to say about the T-90A except its reverse gear. Now, yeah, the reverse gear is not necessarily good by any means, but your armor makes up for it. You're able to brawl with tanks like Merkavas and Abrams. The only tanks that are really going to give you issues are, Leo 2A6s and up tiers. Obviously, the Leopard 2A7s are going to do really well, and you have a good 3BM60 round. So overall, the T-90A is by far one of the best MBTs in this 11.0 BR range. Every good MBT has access to some form of aircraft, and the Russian T-90A is no exception. At 11.3, Russia has access to a pretty good cast vehicle, the SU-25T. Now, in an up tier, you are going to suffer a little bit due to lack of radar, lack of missiles like Fox 3s or Fox 1s, and low survivability. You do get an okay amount of countermeasures, but a pretty bad RWR at that. Now, you do get access to the KH-29L, and you do get access to KH-25MLs and Vikir and R-73s, so if you're not being forced to fight enemy aircraft, you can be a very successful cast aircraft. You do have most things that, the Su-25 gets access to, which is your 30 mil. You do not get thermals in the targeting pod, and this can actually be a little bit harmful to you. It makes it a little interesting to try to get long-range shots with the KH-29Ls, because it can be somewhat hard to find the vehicles, and in order to actually utilize your missiles like the Vikir, which you do get 16 of them, and these are the same exact missiles that the Ka-52 and Ka-50 carry. So they are very, very good missiles, especially at taking out helicopters or taking out MBTs or tanks. You can even use them on aircraft that are flying in a straight line. You have to get close to use that weapon system. So you're going to find that you're prone to things like the RDF-LT or the HSTVL or even Bradley's or anything that has a gun is going to be able to shoot at you. You do have the fire and forget on the KH-29Ts, which work. Using them at long ranges are definitely going to be your best bet. At 11.3, this as a cast vehicle, there's not a whole lot better. I personally would take a Harrier over this because of the thermal targeting pod, and I'm much more better in a Harrier. But as far as actual straight up cast goes, the Su-25T can do pretty much everything you need it to do and more. It's just the fact that you have the low survivability against enemy aircraft, which you do carry the R-73, so you can defend yourself from enemy aircraft. You're just not going to have as the same technologically advanced avionics that something like the Harrier or even the A-10 is going to have for the U.S. And that doesn't make this aircraft necessarily bad. In fact, I think it really complements the T-90A, you are able to, you know, go in and brawl and do very well with the great armor on the T-90A, and then get into a pretty decent cast vehicle. And that's even to say, you know, Russia has a couple other options at this BR2. Personally, I take the SU-25T out. I think it's the best in my personal opinion. I know you could take out something maybe like the Su-24 or even some of the MiG-27s would also probably do really, really well. Let me know what your guys' thoughts are down below in the comments. Do you guys like the Su-25T? Do you guys like the T-90A? And do you guys think they make a pretty good duo? Let me know your thoughts down below. Make sure to hit that like button and subscribe, and I'll catch you guys in the next one.